in this lesson, we'll begin sculpting the character's limbs. So now, once we've got some of this detail created in the center and up on the head, let's start to detail some of the limbs, so the arms and legs, and we'll just go through a few things that we can do. Let's go ahead and dial down our subdivision levels, maybe down to level 3, just make sure we're on our base here. And down here on the fingers, we can start to shape those a little bit. We can maybe pull up some of the geometry in here and just raise that up a little bit and kind of smooth it back out, and just maybe pull the fingers down a little. I want to have this sort of almost like a flipper kind of a feel. I'm going to pull this down, but I want it to be fairly straight for if we were to do any sort of rigging or anything like that. I don't want to have too much of a pose in it. Okay, we can kind of pull up what would be sort of the palm area. Okay, and then up into the wrist. Let's go ahead and jump back up to our upper subdivision levels. We can go ahead and get pull. Let's go ahead and let that cache update. We can get pull and start to just sculpt in different landmarks. So in areas up here, like on the wrist, we can sort of draw out where we want that to be. Okay, back here on the elbow, we can start to pull that out. Okay, maybe pull out a little bit of detail here on the back of the arm. It doesn't have to be human anatomy, but I just want to add a little bit of sort of muscle type detail here. Okay, let's actually push in the area right in front of the elbow just a little bit. Okay, we can go ahead and kind of smooth that back out. Now let's go ahead and get our knife, get kind of a low strength, and let's just start to use it to define some of these sort of muscles and landmarks here. Can come in front of the elbow, sort of draw that in, come across the wrist. Okay, create a few wrinkles coming across there. Start to work it into the hand a little bit, and it may require you to size it down a little bit. Let's take our strength down a little as well. Let me undo that. There we go. Okay, we can come in and start to define our fingers a little bit more. Add a little bit of wrinkling between the fingers like that. Okay, you can start to come across the tops of those. Okay, and just kind of real lightly work that in. You can extend those wrinkles across the wrist coming up across here. Okay, do the same thing down here, where you're definitely going to have a lot of wrinkling here underneath the fingers. And coming across the palm. Just sort of define that a little bit more. Okay, back here along the elbow, we can start to add a little bit of kind of interesting detail back here. Maybe add a little bit of wrinkling right around there. We're not really worrying too much about any high frequency detail just yet. We can continue these wrinkles from the back down along, if I can get that adjusted here, down along the arm. So it just kind of works it all together. Okay, we can do the same thing down here on the leg. So we're going to have these wrinkles coming up and around here. There's folds. So we can come up along the leg. You can start to define areas like this joint. Okay. You're going to have some wrinkles in here. Just extend those kind of around to the back. If you want to use pull, you can again kind of create that bony structure here on the back and then go back and use your knife to kind of emphasize that. Let's do the same thing up here with some folds and skin folds coming up and around in these areas where it would be bent. Okay. You can start to define your musculature a little bit more. So I'm going to kind of pull this out, and then maybe over here, and then maybe use your knife to just give a little bit more definition to some of these areas. Okay, we can go ahead and get wax down here on the feet and just start to define those feet, thicken them up a little bit, make them a little bit more organic looking. Okay, same thing over here, just building that up. Extend that up and in. Okay, and if you want to come in and increase the size back here, you can do that. Kind of smooth it back out. Add a little bit more mass up here on the top of the foot. Kind of widen it out a little bit. Use your knife to come in and add some detail here along the feet. So maybe you've got this sort of lines coming across here. Okay, you can add that sort of wrinkling going on between sort of the toes here. If you want to widen that up, you can use grab, the large size. Kind of widen those feet up a little bit. Just get in here on the side, just so he's got a little bit of a wider base to stand on. Okay. Now for these guys, I'm going to use knife and define kind of an edge here, coming up and across. I think I want to actually take the knife settings and increase the pinch amount. Okay, take the strength down a little bit. Okay. Give it sort of that line, and then you can come in here and create some wrinkles coming across. Do the same thing over here on this side. And then add your detail underneath. So let's say these are a little bit more kind of, not tentacle, but they've got a little bit less of a maybe muscular structure. Okay, we still probably want to have a few joints in here, so we can use pull or wax to kind of pull those up, and then down here where we're going to have that bend. Okay, and we have a bend up here, so we want to create a few little wrinkles coming across. Okay, obviously up here where it's bent, we're going to have a few coming down and across, so we want to extend those. So maybe take our strength down a little bit and do some that are maybe a little bit less intense. Okay, let's kind of smooth that back out. And just add a little bit more detail to the area where this connects and then where this comes out. Okay. Now if you want this to be kind of a more of a grabber, you can use grab and take this end down a little bit. I'm trying to leave it again a little bit more straight, just like the hands, so that you can rig it. Okay. But if you want to kind of flatten out that area, you can kind of flatten it. Go back with your knife and just add a little bit of detail to the end there. Add some wrinkles coming across. And then we've got our limbs. And if you want to spend a little bit more time on those, you certainly can do that. And you just want to pay some attention to the area where they intersect with other areas, and then you can come in and detail that. Take that down a little bit. Okay, so once we've got our limbs sculpted, the next thing that I want to do, I think, is to come in and start to add some high frequency skin detail here. So, and also to maybe some of the shell pieces that we've added. So we'll go ahead and take a look at how we can do that in the next lesson.